Thank you for coming and sharing with us. It's been fun to listen to your stories as well. And Steve is going to give you a chance to share your memories of Dad and some of what Dad meant to you. But I want to tell you what Dad meant to me. They say that a child gets their vision of God from their father. And that's an awesome responsibility, men. Because if you're petty, if you're vindictive, your children will think that God is that way too. But I was blessed to have a dad who was not a perfect man and never pretended to be, but a dad who showed me what God could be like, who gave me my first early impressions of God. Now, it's going to be hard for you to believe, but when I didn't get along too well in school, because, especially in about 3rd grade, because I had a teacher that it was her last year in teaching, and she taught far too long, at least from my point of view, 1 year too long. But she sat at the cafeteria table with us and made us all eat everything on our tray. Well, nobody force-fed me at home, and I resented this hotly. Well, at home, you know, if the plate went around more than once, there was never anything else on it anyway. So, but anyway, she insisted that we eat everything on our school lunch. And I looked at my hamburger one day and decided it was diseased, and I wasn't going to eat it. In fact, it went around the room and went around the table, and the whole class decided that their hamburgers were also diseased, and they weren't going to eat theirs either. And it all came back pointed to me. And I had been having a hard time in 3rd grade with her anyway. She's terrified me. And so Ruth came to my rescue temporarily, but when the story came out at home, Dad decided something needed to be done about a teacher that was terrifying 3rd graders. And so he came to school, and he was like my hero. It was like Dad came to the rescue. Instead of wearing a cape and red tights and the big S across his chest, he was wearing a black suit and a white shirt that Mom had boiled and bleached to get it white because the water in Ohio was so iron-ridden that we all ate a skillet a year in iron. But anyway, he came, and it was the first time I had seen that teacher smile the whole year. And he told her, he said, "You know, I pay for my daughter's lunch. You don't have to force feed her. If she doesn't want to eat her food, she doesn't have to." And I realized then that my dad was my advocate. And he was the one that was going to stand up for me. And I realized that God sent Jesus to be my advocate, to stand up for me. I learned a lot from my dad about God. I learned that God is faithful. I learned that God is loving. I learned that God cares about the details of our life, even a diseased hamburger. I want to read you some excerpts from some of Dad's letters. If you were ever one of his children and went off to church camp and you were homesick, or if you were one of his grandchildren, you got a letter that started, perhaps you got a letter that started like this. Once upon a time. No, maybe it was twice upon a time. No, I believe it was 3 upon a time. There were 3 little white duckies. Their names were Peter, Goldilocks, and Big Mouth Susan. One day, no, it was today. They went for a swim. Just as they got into the water, a turtle swam up and grabbed Peter's leg and pulled him under the water. Peter tried to say quack, but his mouth got full of water and he choked. And at the end of the letter, there's nothing in the letter except to say that he's fine and hopes you are too. Another excerpt. This was written in January '03. Dear Mary, oops, I mean Mary. It was nice of Al Gore to send his global warming yesterday to remove the snow. Not being a kid, we don't like the snow. 2 winters stand out when that's me, was about your age. 1935 winter, we had about 5 inches of ice. I was dating G-Ma, and we in the Pleasant Valley youth had a lot of fun. Then in 1936, winter was cold plus, and we had snow that blocked the roads for about 6 weeks. Them were the good old days. Another excerpt. You are a jewel, and I'm greatly pleased to have loving descendants that I want to be remembered as a loving G. Popsky. I don't know how much time I have left, but I pray for you every day that you are like you are, and that your future will be a happy one, and that your choices and decisions will be made so it's so. Love and smoochies, G. Pop. His prayer for all of us.